Hey, guys, it's Old Man G here, back again with another match preview. Sorry it's a bit late, guys. Obviously, United aren't in the Champions League anymore. So, it is what it is, isn't it? We're back to horrible, stupid Europa League football, but I might as well cover it. It's going to be quite brief because it's quite late, at least in the UK anyway. But remember, if you're new to the channel, so I'm going to sort out this lighting. I apologize. How unprofessional of me. There we go. You can probably see me now. But if you're new to the channel, remember to like, share, and subscribe to Red Dead. Thank you for Adam and Damien for joining the chat. It's always good. I'll just say this: it's always good when I go live. I always see these someone in the chat. Like it does that. It's actually really encouraging, actually. So I appreciate it, guys. I always appreciate the ongoing support that you guys have. If there's anything you want me to do, let me know. So yeah. Manchester United versus Real Sociedad. Real Sociedad versus Manchester United. Obviously, we're going to be playing away. We're not playing in Spain. I think we're playing in Turin because of the restrictions, obviously, regarding the pandemic. So we're not. Although this is on a away leg, we are not technically playing away from home. In what is an interesting game, to be honest, because we're in a situation where Manchester United have been for quite some time, which is, unfortunately, because of our recent form, we have to sort of start taking the Europa League a bit seriously. The reality is that we've lost, obviously, against Sheffield. We dropped points against West Ham, and suddenly we're now getting slowly but surely drawn into the top four battle. There was a very good chance that the Europa League might potentially be one of those options again regarding qualification for the Champions League next, and so it's something that can't just be thrown away, as well as the fact that it is just good just being able to sort of have a trophy as well. So that is something that's quite important as well for this competition. And knowing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, knowing Manchester United, he will definitely want to. Sorry, he will definitely want to win the trophy. Aussie Damien Mbappe. Yeah, Mbappe was something else. Whereas the ball is out, which is huge. I'm joking. Everyone's joking. Fair enough. But yeah, man. I mean, tell you about Champions League. Mbappe was fantastic last night, and Erling Haaland was better. So I just hope that those two players. Again, it's about consistency because we always compare to Ronaldo and Messi, etc. But people need to realize, I think, especially for maybe the younger guys, that these guys have been doing it for almost 2 decades. My world class for me is about consistency of a period of time. It's not just about how good you were in 1 or 2 seasons, but it's actually having that consistency over time. So, but hopefully we'll see that consistency among those two players, because we've seen enough players that have turned up, and had maybe a couple of good seasons, and then as soon as they hit their peak or beyond, they seem to fall flat for whatever because of the hype. So hope it doesn't happen to those two players. Can Man U go? Dame says, can Man U go deep in the Europa League? Well, to be honest, a lot of it depends on this Sociedad game. To be honest, and I'll because Sociedad obviously are quite a difficult team, and Manchester United struggle against Spanish teams. Sevilla, case in point, who obviously had a bit of a Dortmund lesson today. So I think if we actually was to somehow overcome Sociedad, to be honest, we probably have a good chance of winning the competition. When you look at the teams that are in the competition remaining, you have actually 4 English teams now, because United have dropped in. You have Spurs, Leicester, and Arsenal that are still in. In terms of you have Leverkusen and Napoli, obviously, that are threats. You've got Rangers from the Glasgow side. You've obviously got Sociedad and so on. So there are some good threats in the tie, although I would argue that I don't think that the is as competitive as it was. And Ajax, sorry, I don't think it's as competitive as it was compared to previous compared to last year and the year before that. Sorry, I need to just quickly tweet one thing. Sociedad Europa League game. Remember to leave a like and a comment and share. It really does go a long way, everybody. I can't multitask to save my life. That's why I'm constantly having to do these things. Right. Okay. I should always try and send these tweets beforehand, but it is what it is. PSG has Haaland. PSG has Man United have got bloody Greenwood, for God's sake. What's wrong with Greenwood? Don't cuss Greenwood. They're youngsters like Haaland and Mbappe who are firing all corners, and there's Greenwood. Why are we so unlucky? I mean, that's not Greenwood came from my academy. And Mbappe, you've got to understand. You've got to understand something, Adam. Greenwood came from our academy. He's our academy graduate. Haaland, ironically enough, came from Molde by when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was there, and Mbappe obviously came from the academy at Monaco. So those are two players who are doing well, but were bought from other clubs and other academies. Greenwood obviously comes directly from our academy, really. Although what I would agree with you, I guess the sentiment of that is that there's no reason why our board decided to not, when we were linked with, if you look at the Dortmund team, Bellingham, Sancho and Haaland were all linked to Manchester United, and United missed on all three of them. Just imagine that midfield. Just imagine if we'd actually started when I know not having a centre back is a problem, but just imagine if we had actually signed Jadon Sancho, had Erling Haaland, and had Jude Bellingham in the midfield in some of the key positions. You never know what would have happened from going forward. You don't. But anyway, let's actually get into this game before I go on and on about Dortmund and stuff like that. So, do I think United should really take this game seriously? I think the Newcastle game this weekend, in my opinion, is actually more important. I think we must win because, to be honest, I want to. At the end of the day, we're probably not going to win the league. In fact, after what Man City did to Everton, we're definitely not going to be winning the league. So I want to at least enjoy the rest of the season without necessarily having to panic worry about top four. I just want to enjoy Manchester United just playing games. So, and that involves usually top four being secure. So to be honest, the Newcastle game in the weekend is much more important for me. That said, it doesn't necessarily mean that I would go weak in this team because Real Sociedad, like I said, are a strong team. But I think we do need to take advantage of the fact that they're going to be playing away technically, and we're away first. So if we can get at least two away goals, for example, against Sociedad team, if that was possible, in one, that would certainly go well to give us a huge advantage going into the tie going forward. Now, if we just quickly go on to see what the starting 11 is, predicted 11, sorry. So this is my predicted 11 goal. I think Henderson is probably going to come in goal. I don't think there's any doubt about that. What Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has said, and I say apologies again for all this, those is late, but for those who will be watching, obviously, in the morning, good morning. But Henderson will probably come in goal. I don't think he's going to put De Gea in, especially because there seems to be beef between him and maybe the public or the board or whatever right now. So De Gea Henderson will obviously start. The back four is interesting. I think he has to rotate somewhat. He has to rotate. And that's why I think Telles is going to come in. Telles didn't play at the weekend against West Brom. I think you've got to rest players. We've got to rest players because we have Newcastle the weekend, and then we have Sociedad again on the Thursday, and then once again, and then we go into Chelsea, and following week going to Man City. So he's got to rotate. And if this is not good enough to start off with, then okay, you can bring the bench players in, but not massively rotate. So that's why I say Telles has to come in for sure. You then have Maguire and Bayer because we don't have any fits in. I would rather start Bay in Tuanzebe. He might do that, but Maguire seems to play every single game. I don't know why. I don't know when he's going to get a rest, but this must be some pseudo machoism thing. But he's going to play, so that's fair enough. Let him play. He'll play. Maguire and Bayer will play. Well, he should start Bay. I think that you can't play Lindelof. We know has a recurring back problem, and I just don't see how you can play. It is unrealistic to assume you can play Lindelof and Maguire 2 times a week on Europa League on Sunday and still expect the top 4 in the trophy. That's just not going to happen. That is just really, really, really not going to happen. And it's sort of happened a bit last season, but that shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen. And you can see, and now that I think about it, when you think about it, actually, it's probably one of the reasons why we kind of suffered a bit towards the end of last season, because the Thursday and Sunday is not the same. You need to rotate, and that's what we need to do. So Bayern needs to come in if he's fit. If not, even bring Transibian, to be honest. You can't play Maguire and Lindelof 2 times a week. Okay, that just can't happen. It can't happen. It shouldn't happen. And if Oli does do that, then he's just poor man management, and that's not right. Wan-Bissaka needs a break as well, but I don't know who comes in for Wan-Bissaka. I mean, this might be a one for Twansibi. I think Wan-Bissaka will play there, and I think one of Sociedad's best players plays on that side. So I think Wan-Bissaka will probably start there in the first instance anyway. But you know, ideally, maybe you could give Wan-Bissaka most of place Twansibi there, possibly. Let's just have a quick look at the comments. Adam again. I'm joking. Please don't hurt me. Green isn't a wing. He's a number 9. If he's a striker. That is true. That is true. That's true. Januzaj is going to score a hat-trick against us. Well, we seem to be in a habit of Manchester United of basically just deciding that we don't need to sign actual wingers anymore. So would I actually be surprised if he did that? Not particularly, because Januzaj is a winger. And speaking of wingers, before we go into it, Adam says Williams. Williams, I think, to be honest, I actually wouldn't mind having Williams at right back. I know he's a left back, but a right back I wouldn't mind because he's very right-footed. So I wouldn't mind him there. But for some reason, Oli prefers to play him at left back. But as a right back, right back, I wouldn't mind, to be honest. TG, where do you get the hat? It's nice. Where did I get the hat? I got this hat, I think, when I was back in Ireland, I think, if I recall. I think it was when I was back in Ireland. It is a very nice hat, isn't it? It's hiding my hair, which is not great, but I really appreciate it, bro. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna maybe that'll be a thing. Maybe that'll be my thing on this channel. I'll start wearing different hats. Let me know if you smash your like if you think I should wear different hats. Old hat G, you know what I mean? And shout out to Red Devil Lab, man. Hope you're doing well, bud. I will try and get on your stream. I haven't forgotten about you, Chief. I will. It's just been very, very busy on my end. And Rasmus as well, man. Long time no see. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Please send me a Twitter if you're still on Twitter. Let's catch up. It'll be good. Damien, United, lucky that Sociedad ain't in form in the season, to be honest. Yeah, Damien, I mean, that's one of the things, you know, I was scared, obviously, at the time with Sociedad, because at the start of the season they were on fire, and obviously David Silva was obviously there as well, and I was concerned. I still am concerned because United's form isn't that great either. And as I'll go into it, I'll go into it now. United are going into this game with a lot of injuries. You know, Cavani and Van der Beek have got muscle injuries, so they're not going to be involved. I hope it's superficial and that they will be fit for the weekend against Newcastle, but I don't 100% know. So without obviously Cavani and Van der Beek for these games, we're without Pogba. He's still obviously out. I think McTominay potentially has a small bit of a knock. You know, so United aren't going into this game with all their options. And I think this is where rotation obviously is key, and we do need to rotate. When you're looking at the midfield, I think Matic then has to come in, even though he has been hit or miss this season, but he has to come into this midfield to do something. Then you have Fred. I mean, right now, to be honest, I'm thinking, what are our midfield options? These actually are our midfield options. There's no other midfield options. You know, it is literally Matic, Fred, Fernandes, because Pogba's injured, Van der Beek's injured, and McTominay might have a small knock. And if and I don't think Ollie will want to play McTominay against Newcastle. I've got no doubt about that. Even though I don't think you should play McTominay and Fred against Newcastle, but he will want him. So I generally think this is probably going to be the midfield: Matic, Fred, and Fernandes. And it might be the midfield in Newcastle because these are the only fit midfielders we have right now. And it's not a bad midfield, to be honest. I think it could work. The front three is interesting, and I've gone to, before I go back to your comments, I've gone back to putting Diallo in. Actually, before I swing to Diallo, just getting some sort of comments again. Quickly. G, still doing exams. If you are, hope you're doing well. Yeah, bro, still on the exams. Still got reading for exams all the way up to November. But hopefully by the end of the year, November, I should be all done. But I appreciate it, man. Thank you for the encouragement, man. I really do. Okay, thanks. I'll set up tomorrow, but just preview. It's just long as if you can do it. I don't know where you live, but ideally, anytime after like 5 o'clock in the UK time is better. Because sometimes it could be a time difference, but I'm at work, which obviously doesn't suit me. Georgia, long time no see. I haven't seen you around in ages, man. So good to see you. One of my old school mods has been here since the beginning. Appreciate it. Carrick and Fletcher need to suit up. I think they need to do more than suiting up, bro. But I know the sentiment. And I am going to be doing a show at some point talking about the situation regarding Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and his contract, because for those of you who are not aware, basically, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going into his final year of his contract next season, and the board have yet to give him a new contract. So usually that should be done the season before, so you kind of can plan for the future, etc., etc., etc. The board have yet to do that, and I think they're going to review the situation at the end of the season. So that is actually what I would say is good impetus for Ole in the first place. And we know that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer tends to G up when his job is on the line. You know, he has to deliver at least top 4. I'd probably argue if it's to guarantee a contract, a trophy as well. That's probably what I would say. Top 4 enough might not be enough. If he gets top 4 in a trophy, I think they'll probably hand him a new contract. But if he gets out of top 4 and he's not getting a new contract. I don't know whether he'd be sacked, but he's definitely not getting a new contract. So that's something to bear in mind. As far as obviously the front three goes, obviously Fernandes, that's fine. Diallo is the thing. And Rashford obviously is fit, but Rashford needs a break. Okay, Rashford needs a break. Martial needs to find his form, and that's why I think it's a good idea to start Martial against Real Sociedad. So get his goals, build a bit of confidence, see what happens. So I think Martial starting on the left would be ideal. I think Greenwood, essentially, just because Greenwood I think is a better number 9, and on the left I'd put Greenwood up top as the lone striker, because obviously Cavani's out. And then I'd bring in Diallo into this team. I think you need to rest Rashford, if things go sour, can come off the bench. But I don't think you should start Marcus Rashford, to be honest. So because he needs a rest, and with him, and we're going to be heavily relying on him and Bruno Fernandes to come clutch at the weekend against Newcastle, because that for me is a must-win game. The Europa League for this is just let's just see what happens. But the most important thing for me is securing top 4, making sure that we're not forced into Europa League next season by choice, and that other teams can battle for that. That's the way that I see it. So that would be what my predicted 11 would be. Let me know what your thoughts are. If you agree with that, or do you think there should be any other players that should go in? Bearing in mind that we're without Pogba, obviously. Cavani's got an injury. McTominay is a doubt as well. And also Van der Beek has got an injury as well. So without 4 key first teamers as well, you've got to bear that in mind. You've got to probably blend in youth as well. George said, Chirgy has been it has been, man. It has been, bro. It's been a very, very, very long time. But it's good to see. It's good to see you, buddy. Appreciate it. Ollie must get top 4 or he's gone. I don't know. This is the thing. Because he's going into his final year of his contract. Is he sacked immediately? I generally think with the way the Glazers are, all they'll do is they'll just let him see out the rest of his contract. I think if he gets fifth, I think they'll let him see out the rest of his contract. I don't think they'll sack him unless it goes absolutely wrong and he's lost the dressing room. But I don't think they'll give him a new contract. If he gets top 4, I'm still not necessarily sure to give him a new contract. But if he gets top 4 and he gets a trophy, he's getting a new contract. Absolutely. Oh, yep, that works. That works. Even a trophy without top 4 isn't enough for the Glazers. I don't know. A trophy without top 4. Well, if it's the Europa League trophy, then that's fine. As long as it means essentially, as long as it means Champions League football. So obviously, if we win Europa League, then that's Champions League football anyway. So really, it's the FA Cup. So 5th place in the FA Cup. Again, I think they wouldn't sack him. I just think that they would probably let him see out his contract because he's only got a year left. But if it was 4th in a trophy, then yeah. Watcher, I'm going to do a video on Jules Koundé, Y19 to play 75 minute release score. Well, the dude was suspect against Dortmund today. And he's a good player, but he was suspect against Dortmund. He was fairly suspect. Let me know if you guys agree with the predicted 11. By the way, we're going to get and just post your score predictions in the comments. What do you think the score is going to be? Personally, I think the score is going to be, I think despite our defense being garbage, and it is, I don't think we're going to be baptized, it's going to be a massacre or anything like that. And I think if we do take the game to Sevilla, especially if we play proper counter-attacking and we finish, I think we can win this game. But and more importantly, is Eric Bailly starting? And I think this is the key. This position, this single position right here is the key. If Eric Bailly starts in this game, I'm comfortable we'll win the game. I'd be surprised if we didn't, but I'm comfortable. If Lindelof is here with Maguire, then I'm worried. So if this team is right, and more specifically, if this pairing is right, I think we can win the game. Probably 2-0, maybe 3-1, 2-0, 3-1. If this partnership is right, if Lindelof is playing, maybe 1-1 is what I would say. And there is an argument that they're going to have to make it work because you've only got one holding midfielder that's fit because McTominay is a doubt of Matic and Fred and Fernandes. I guess Matic and Fred can sit both in front and can do it, but at least with Matic you have and we're talking about creativity, someone who can at least pass the ball well and better and can keep things moving, which is something that we've missed somewhat with Fred and McTominay being in the midfield. So yeah, those are my score prediction, my opinion. Let me know your thoughts on the comments. Do you think we got a shout here? I'd love to see Diallo, but Ollie risks playing him. For me, he has to, Georgia, because one of those front 3 or 4 needs a rest. I know Ollie wants to go strong, but we can't physically play our strongest teams on Thursdays and Sundays or Saturdays, even afternoons, every single week. We can't do that. So he has to rotate, especially because next week we're going to be playing against Chelsea, week after City. We need to get the dub. I'm not necessarily we need to win against Chelsea and City, but if we don't beat Newcastle this weekend, then I think Chelsea only, if the table's correct, Chelsea only 4 points behind Manchester United right now. So if we don't beat Newcastle this weekend, and Chelsea beat Southampton, they'll only be a point behind us going into that game. And then potentially Chelsea will be above us if they beat us. So it's imperative that we beat Newcastle to maintain that 4 points and then have the strength and energy to go into the Chelsea game and the City game to at least give those guys a game, at the very least not to lose, because then at least you don't give points to City or Chelsea respectively. But unfortunately, Ollie has shown time and time again that like he's very go-to, and he wants to prioritize everything, and he needs to not do that in this case. That's my personal opinion anyway. Joe Abraham says, I think he will go with Mata on the right and change with Bruno in the middle. It will be a technical game, but we need as many. That's a fair point. That's a fair point. I mean, my only thing with Mata, really, to be honest, is just that how much football has Mata really played this season? I know he's a professional. I think that's important. But he's barely played any football. I just think it's a bit... I mean, he can be very good, especially if he's got a bit of a run on. But, you know, I can't remember the last time Mata played. You know, so do you throw him into a game like this? I guess, you know, you're throwing Diallo in because he's young, and you don't know. But at least with Diallo, you have that kind of like, we don't know what the expected is. He could absolutely flop, or he could score a hat trick, and we say it's the next best thing. Whereas I think with Mata, we know what we're going to get from him, and the fact that he hasn't played in quite some time, i.e. match fitness, means that if he doesn't do anything, he'll fade out and not contribute that much. You know, unlike say a Cavani, who even if Cavani misses, you still see him coming back, defending very deep, heading away clearers, winning the tackles, etc. He's a very hard worker off the ball, and people should know that about Cavani. Doesn't his contract end in December? You mean this coming December? I don't know. I just thought it was a 3-year standard contract, so with the start of the season. So because he didn't get the official contract, obviously, until he wasn't the interim manager. So the contract would have started from when he actually officially became Manchester United's manager, not as interim. So that, as far as I'm aware, was offered to him in the summer of that year. Well, it wasn't offered to him in the summer, but it was offered to him like in the spring, I think, of that year. You know, so is Sack Van Gaal still holding up the trophy? Yeah, but I think a couple of things. One, Van Gaal spent goodness knows how much money, so I think that's one thing. But also, I think there's a realization in the Manchester United board about where Manchester United is right now, and I think that they don't necessarily think that... I don't think they believe that we're going to win the title or challenge for the Champions League, etc. I just think they're there to basically focus on getting Champions League, which is sad, because if they did, they would have signed a centre-back. They would have strengthened up positions in the January, knowing that we needed reinforcements, and they didn't. You know, and that's just the nature of the people who rule this club. Absolute jokers. Take care, buddy. Oi tactics, cost and show. That was Lampard's tactics, to be fair. Of course you can, mate. No, man, bro, you're cool. We're good. Ollie could play Mata at 10 and move Bruno to 8. That's it. I don't ever see him doing it. Yeah, I don't think he's going to do that. But yeah, put your score predictions in the comments of this video when you see this video on the page, and remember to like the video as well. Like I said, guys, for me, the key thing here is keeping a clean sheet. I don't really prioritize this because it's Europa League. What can you do? But we're in the competition. And so long as it doesn't make a significantly negative effect on the way that our team performs in the league, then, you know, we might as well sort of give it a go. Maybe try a few youngsters out as well, and making sure that we have good, adequate squad rotation. Eric Bay has to play against this team, because we will play differently when he's on the pitch. And more importantly, if we're going to have to persist with Lindelof Maguire partnership for the rest of the season, at least, you need to give it a rest. That's the most important thing. Anyway, guys, thank you. Oh, just see some comments. Yeah. Why did the coffee got mugged? Don't start. It's too late over here. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for those who are joining in the comments. We really appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, remember to like, share, and subscribe to Red Devil Studio. Follow us on Twitter and smash that notification button for latest Manchester United related news. Our Red Devil Live podcasts are back, so stay tuned for those on Fridays, where we get a bunch of guys. We're going to be recapping the Champions League. Well, we're going to be recapping European football in general, so Champions League, Europa League games, and really everything that's been going on, to be honest. So stay tuned for that. Those are going to be Fridays from 9 o'clock. And I'll obviously upload my post-match reaction to the Newcastle and Sociedad games as well. Have a nice evening, everyone, and cheers.